What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between a fine nib Platinum Century 3776 and the soft fine nib of a Platinum 3776. So I have two basically identical pens here. You really can't tell any difference, but this one is a fine nib and this one is a soft fine nib. So I bought the fine nib pen, oh boy, a long time ago. This was actually my first gold nib fountain pen ever. And I still love and adore this pen to this day. In fact, despite some of its flaws, I think the 3776 is my favorite fountain pen. There are pens that I actually enjoy writing with more, but there's just something about this one that holds a special place in my heart. So much so that I have the fine nib in this color, I have a medium nib, and I have a broad nib in two other colors. But somebody very awesome lent this one to me, and this is the soft fine. So I was very curious to see the difference between the two, because whenever they claim like soft or whatever, like I'm always a little bit curious, and I was super curious because platinum tends to be fairly stiff as far as like line variation goes. But right away, looking at the nibs, you can tell the difference. So platinum usually has a very flat top nib, which I like the look of. It's very flat. It's not curved like most nibs are. But the soft fine is curved. So if you're looking at them side by side, physically they are pretty much the same size, at least to the naked eye, they look the same size. But the difference is that the platinum with the soft fine nib is rounded at the top, which is going to give the tines a little bit more space to breathe, versus the flat top of the traditional pen. So you can definitely tell the difference. Now, of course, one's covered in ink, one isn't, so obviously that's going to be a giveaway. But other than that, the body is identical in every way. There's no difference whatsoever. So everything that I love about the pen is still there. It's just the nib that's different. So you still have a really great springy but firm clip. You still have the gold accents. I will say I typically prefer platinum plated or silver plated, however you want to pronounce that. But I do enjoy the look of this pen. So you get the thick band that says Platinum Century 3776, made in Japan. It tapers down a little bit. You can hold it quite nicely in my hand without posting it, but you certainly could if you want to. It's a little back heavy for me, but for I think people with like larger hands, you're going to want to. It is a light pen, so it definitely does not have really any weight to it. So if you don't like if you don't like light pens, probably stay away from this one. And it also does have a platinum proprietary cartridge with the metal like components here, so you cannot eyedropper convert this pen. But I really like it. I'm not going too heavy into the details because I have done a proper review of this pen actually, which I'll put in the iCard. But I really like the nib, so I'm going to flip the camera around and get you a little bit more detail of what we're actually here to talk about. So I'm certainly no pro at flex writing, but you know, there you have it. So I have the Platinum Century 3776 fine nib. This one in particular was actually the celluloid one, which I also have a review of, with Roaring Klingner Verdigris inked up. And then I have this one here. So this is the soft fine nib. So you can see that when you're everyday writing, it's virtually the same. There's really not much difference. But when you come to putting some pressure down, this is putting a decent amount of pressure on the regular nib. This is putting some not so heavy pressure really on the soft fine nib. So right away you can definitely tell a big difference. And same with these little kind of S or figure 8 characters here. You can definitely tell a little bit of a difference. And then with my poor excuse for flex writing, regular, no pressure, and then obviously my attempt there. So you definitely can get a good amount of line difference. The ink, by the way, is Bungbox Sweet Potato Purple, which is quickly becoming one of my favorites, which is unfortunate because it's very expensive. But yeah, so this is quickly becoming one of my favorite inks, and definitely I will be picking up another platinum pen in the future with a soft fine nib. Maybe one of these celluloid ones because I don't own one yet. But the flow is as you would expect. This ink I find is a little on the dry side, but it's still, like, this pen is pretty good, so it doesn't show fully wetness. This pen isn't a gusher. I wouldn't say it's like a Visconti type thing, but it's certainly not dry. I would say if, a 1 to 10, 1 being super dry, 10 being like can't use it wet, I would say it sits around probably a 6 or a 7, which is what I would consider an appropriate amount of wetness for everyday kind of writing. But like I said, this is a dry ink. It definitely can keep up. I've been using this pen for about 2.5 weeks roughly, and I've never had any issues. Apparently, unless I hold the pen this way. I've never had any issues with hard starts, with flow issues, anything. It always keeps up, no matter like how many times. Like, I've literally tried to get it to railroad on me, and it just doesn't. So I really, really love it. I will say there's a little bit more feedback on this nib than any other nib that I've had from Platinum, including my regular fine nib here. But I don't know if that's just this pen in general. This one's not inked up. I don't know if it's just this pen in general, or if it is because this is a soft fine. I would think that it was just because it's a soft fine. And feedback to me isn't a huge problem. If this were my pen, I would probably take this for a few laps on the Mylar mesh just to smooth it out a little bit. But I would absolutely recommend getting one. I will probably be getting one myself. But guys, that is about it for me today. Definitely pick one up. Oh, pricing. I almost forgot. So pricing for retails in the States is, I believe, $176, which I think puts it around $230 something for Canadians. But that said, Canada, and I'm sure this is going to apply the same to Americans and abroad as well. If you take a look on like third-party sites, you can always find these significantly cheaper. This is probably one of the easiest gold nib pens to get your hands on at a really, really good price. So yeah, I'm so glad I didn't forget that. So now, guys, this has been about it for me today. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. If you really like the video but haven't yet done so already, do hit the subscribe. New videos come out every Monday and Tuesday, or every Monday and Friday. Wow, I cannot speak today. And the occasional Tuesday with a Q&A. Hit up that comment section below, smash that like button, and guys, as always, I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.